Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to take a hydrometer test. We have filled up with 23 liters of water, just there, and the wort is at 22 degrees. This is our hydrometer, and it has lots of handy little markings on it to let us know when to bottle, when to pitch, that sort of thing. So we take our tube, draw off a sample, about 100 milliliters, and then we put the hydrometer in like this, agitate it a little so there's no air bubbles trapped underneath, and then we spin. And that's pretty high. That's looking about 1.056. Each of the markings there between the 5 and the 6 are not 1, they are 2 on this hydrometer. So if we go down 3 notches, it'll be 5, 6. So whereas the red and the yellow tell you when to start and when to bottle, it really does depend on your ingredients and the kind of beer you're making. So there's no hard and fast rule really, but it seems that this is coming out at roughly 1.56, so I'm pretty happy with that. So coming up next, we're going to pitch these. Alright, our wort is at a temperature of about 22 degrees, so it's perfect for pitching for this lager style beer. Now we've put the top on just to temporarily protect the wort as we were doing our calculations. Now we're adding this yeast that came with the kit, which is just a Cooper's brewing yeast. Nothing really marked on the packet or anything. But we're basically going to pitch on top of the foam. You want to just pour the yeast all over the top of the foam, like so. Just spread it around on top of the foam. Now if you leave it sit on top of the foam for a minute, the yeast will start to hydrate, which is what you want. So then, after the yeast is hydrated for a minute, we're going to stir it in. So after a couple of minutes, the yeast is hydrated. I think it's hydrated enough. You can maybe see there, as opposed to there, there's the drier part, and this is the more hydrated part. Also here. And now the dashing assistant is going to stir the yeast in. You just want to make sure that it gets into the beer. Now, some people don't advocate stirring it in, but it always seems to work for me, so that's the advice I'm going to give. But you just stir it in. Nothing too crazy. You don't like beat it up or anything, but you need to stir it in for about, I'd say 2 or 3 minutes, just to aerate the beer a little, let the yeast work its magic, to make sure the yeast gets off to a good start. So we've pitched the yeast and we've stirred it in nice and good. So now what we're going to do is put the lid on. This has been previously dried and sanitized and everything. So it's a snap fit on my fermenter. Yours may be different, but you want to make sure that it's on there good and tight, so no air leaks out. Then what we do is we take boiling water and we put it in the airlock here. There's a max line you can fill to. And what we do is we take this little red cap to keep dust and bugs and things out of there, and then just push it back in here, and that's it really. That's everything you need to do to get the beer started. Now in about 24 hours, well, actually one more thing, we just do a pressure test here. When I press on the lid, the level moves down and doesn't move, so there's no air leaking out from around the fermenter, and then I let it go, it returns to where it was. So that's everything for how to brew your home extract kit. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, maybe to see the bottle. This is 24 hours later on the Cooper's Canadian Blonde. You can see the airlock is bubbling away nicely there. We have got a foam. It's difficult to see, but we have a foam building up on the top there. The temperature has dropped a little to 22 degrees. I think I might put the heat belt on this. Well, one thing I wanted to show you is right down at the bottom there, you can see there's a lot of stuff. Now the thing with that is initially the first time I saw this, when this happened, when I was making beer, I panicked because I thought the yeast was dead and it had fallen out or something like that. It's actually a bottom fermentation yeast. This is quite common with lagers and drafts and things like that, so it's nothing to worry about. I just thought I'd let you know that the fermentation is going well. Or Cooper's Canadian Blonde.